What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. If you enjoy the Scale News Update, hit the like button. Let's jump into this week's topics. First for this week, Shapeways is coming back? Question mark, maybe? A company called Manwevo, probably butchering that, acquired the assets that Shapeways held. But it's not 100% clear based on the couple of articles that I read, whether they acquired all of the assets everywhere or just like some of the European assets. Again, the articles didn't have a ton of details, and there's not exactly a ton of details on the actual company that acquired them either, because it kind of seems like this is a new company that was formed for this venture. I don't know. At this point, I'm not exactly holding my breath that Shapeways will be back in its prior form. From what I've gathered initially, it sounds like they're coming back and they're going to be printing mainly out of the EU. Again, this could be completely off. These articles were not well written. They really felt like AI generated with a very small amount of facts. But that's about all I could get out of it, is that maybe they're coming back. But until everything is back up and running and they've started to win some trust back with people, I wouldn't hold my breath. Now, the status of outstanding orders or outstanding payments to store owners / creators that used the platform, that is a whole other story in its own as well. You know, will they see those liabilities and say, hey, we bought the assets, we didn't buy the liabilities. That's not our problem. If you'd like to come back and start doing business again, we welcome you. That's my guess, is what, the approach that may happen with this, but I'm going to find out. They owe me like $9, so I'm not doing any business until I get my $9. And I know how to hold a grudge. Someone in Colorado still owes me like $150 for a Super I sold them in like 2014. Then Vanquish Products released 2 new Yokohama tires. The XMT is a Geolander that is a 2.2 inch wheel and about 5.1 inches tall. This is a super aggressive tire in the red compound, so super sticky. I ran these on my moon buggy in Colorado back in June. I didn't really mention anything about them, but everybody saw and knew that there was something there. So if you want to go see them in action, I do have that running video. You can go see how they handled on the red rocks there in Colorado. The second new tire from Vanquish is the XAT Geolander. Now, this is a 4.5 inch tall 1.9, so a little bit shorter than the Falcon MT, but taller than a class 1 tire. So kind of that mid ground there. This is an XAT tire, so a little bit more aggressive than a standard AT, and something that's comparable to the RT from the Falcons. So it gives you any idea there. Also comes in the same red compound as the rest of the Vanquish tire line. If you're interested in either of those tires, those are in stock and available now, and I'll put links to them both in the description below, as well as links to the rest of today's stories. For you custom builders out there, Scale Metal Supplies recently released a new VFD twin servo mount. This bolts right to the transmission around the bezel that is goes over the shift lever area. So it makes it a nice standalone unit. It doesn't have to be attached anywhere else on the chassis. It just is mounted and solely captured on the transmission itself, making it pretty easy to get a micro servo in there and not have to worry about welding something in on a custom chassis or 3D printing and designing something on some sort of flat rail chassis. Easy option. Scale Metal Supplies also has a ton of other products on their website for fabricators, like shock mount and link mount tabs, skid plate brackets, all that kind of stuff. They also have some other just regular scale items as well: fuel cells, seats, quick install type dash kits. Definitely worth checking out their website if you've never been there before. Again, link to Scale Metal Supplies will be down below as well. Last week we talked about the new bender that I was releasing, and that is fully available this week. Last week there was a little bit of a delay that took slightly longer than I had hoped, so right when the news went up, it wasn't quite available yet. But shortly after that, everything was readily available. And if you're interested in that, I also did a video that went up yesterday that I'll link to as well, that shows you exactly how to get it assembled and some tips on exactly how to use it so that you can get tubes bent perfectly every time. Definitely worth the watch if you're picking that bender up, or you can actually use the tips for just about any bender that's out there. You just change the measurements a little bit, but you go through the exact same process of what I show there. So check out that video if you'd like more info. You can go look at the link for the bender if you're interested in picking that up as well. Speaking of picking things up, if you'd like to pick up a membership to this channel, you can do so below as well. Channel membership helps support the channel a little bit extra. You also get behind the scenes videos. You get after news delight, where we go into depth on each of these news topics that we talk about in a day. And I just kind of, give a few additional thoughts, stuff that doesn't always fit in the news, or I'm more worried about time and just trying to hit the main points in this show. But if you'd like to get a little bit extra, that show's been going pretty well. Also, you get videos like the Scale News Update early. You get to see it the night before, as well as the other videos you get early also. So I appreciate the additional support. If that's something you're interested in, you'll find the details below. Wednesdays, as always, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, you can come watch Matt and I talk about some RC-related topics and a lot of other things. Livestream Takeover happens every week. We're 230 some odd weeks into this thing in a row. Come join in live or watch it after the fact. Either way, we love having you. And you can find that streamed on both my channel as well as Matt's. Thanks again to rcmap.io for supporting this month of the Scale News Update. rcmap.io is a website as well as an app that you can get on both Android and Apple phones. The Android app has been up for a couple of weeks officially now, so if you're a green bubble type of person, now you can get in with the fun as well. This is an easy way to find new places to go run your scale truck, or maybe a race truck as well, or race car, whatever you call it. What do you call it? Just race trucks, race cars? Why can't I think of the name for that? Anyway, there's hobby shops and tracks listed on the app as well. But the hard ones to find seem to be our type of, good terrain for scale action, or just, nice long trails. Each of the pins on there has the opportunity to have photos tagged or a YouTube video. If you have a YouTube video from a place that somebody else created, you can go add that as well. Just giving you a chance to share with other people what a location looks like, help them make the decision whether they want to try that location out for themselves. You can also add lists, so you find a bunch of places that you want to go visit. You can do it first on your computer, create that list, and easily go find those later, so you can, make the most of your time with your scale truck. Thanks again to rcmap.io for supporting the Scale News Update. Next, DSM Offroad just released some new options for you Redcat Ascent owners. They released a set of shock tower relocation mounts, which helps give you a little bit more tuning ability with your vehicle. Made from carbon fiber, which is just cool and fun anyway, and also includes all the hardware that you need to achieve it. So it's a full kit as far as that goes. Price is great, $49 for all four. They also released a new comp style bed specifically for the Redcat Ascent Fusion version. So this will sit back there, just gives you that low profile, minimalist rear bed setup. This is a 3D printed piece, but you'll notice that it does have the scale fuel cell and battery setup up in the front, and a full bed to it with a lot of detail in it. So good looking piece, and everything that you see there is included. And that whole setup's only gonna run you $29. While browsing for some other stories, I ran across Lesu's site and saw that they have updated the Unimog setup. They've got this scale all metal Unimog, 4x4, not a 6x6 or anything like that. But the rear overland style bed on this is completely fabricated from very thin sheet metal. It's got, all of the opening cabinets and doors and the pop-up roof area. Super detailed. Lesu, however you say it, if you've never looked at their stuff before, they do mostly like heavy equipment style RC, and some truly amazing pieces at that. There's probably higher end versions, but these are absolutely impressive to look at. Loaders and all kinds of specialty equipment. It's a lot of fun to look at. It never bothers me to go check their site for news each week. Always find something that I'd love to have, but have always scared to look at the retail price. If you're an ultra Unimog fan, then maybe investigating further and getting the price is going to be worth it for you. For me, just seeing that it was updated, noting that, and passing it along to you felt like enough for me. RC 4-wheel drive just brought out a new tire. This is the Dickcek Fun Country 1.9. Dickcek tires, I feel like a lot of them look very similar to me. Fun Country evidently was a line or a brand that was around before that I was totally unaware of. But these are sub 4-inch tall 1.9. I think just under that 4-inch mark though, like 3.9 or 3.8 inches tall. Great for hard body vehicles where you're not looking to do a bunch of fender well trimming or anything like that. Just going for a certain type of style while keeping it, stock or ultra realistic. I don't believe a lot else has changed on the RC 4-wheel drive tire front. Their compound's still decent enough to get the job done. So if this is a tire that looks like it would fit your build perfectly, you'll see if Dickcek's got something for you. Htech has some more new releases, again for the H10 Optic. We recently saw them release the aluminum body set for that vehicle, and now they've got some aluminum front clamps for that faux steering rack in the front, or steering ram more specifically, as well as the functional bump stop replacements. The side of the H10 has some simulated style bump stops, and Htech has now made some that actually function. I don't know that they're actually going to dampen the impact of the vehicle like a real bump stop would, but they will collapse, giving you that simulated style. Htech as a whole doesn't have a huge variety of parts. They just hit a number of vehicles with some options here or there. I think they also released some like CEN F450 or 250 wheels this week as well. So brodozers rejoice. But if you'd like more information on what Htech does offer, what vehicles they're making parts for, you can go check out their site and see everything listed at once. And Proline got us all the info we needed for their truly spoked, laced up aluminum wheels for the ProMoto. Just like you could see in their tease. It's hard to tease a truly spoked wheel for a quarter scale motorcycle. You can pretty much tell what they are. They brought these out, 3 different color combos that you can get, some orange, some blue on blue, and some black on red maybe. Either way. 3 different options, front and rear wheels, sold separately. They also have a mounting system that looks very quick. They did a little social media video showing how quickly you can change out tires with this wheel setup. I'm not sure how the other truly spoked wheels for the ProMoto work, or if they're similar or not, but this one definitely seemed easy. The other ones I just have never seen social media posts on, and I've never bought any myself, so couldn't tell if it's a very apples to apples comparison or not. They're not super cheap. I believe that they're about 90 bucks a wheel. And good thing you only need 2 of them because it's a motorcycle. But that does it for this week's news topics. It's back to school season. And while that doesn't really mean a lot to me personally, it means things for the industry as a whole. It's been a little slow in the news the last few weeks, but that's pretty typical for this time of year. The industry kind of slows down a little bit in August and September especially. October is when things kind of start to pull out of that, kind of slump that they're in and get rolling for the holiday season really, especially with Black Friday moving closer and closer up in the year. So right now it's just, we're kind of in that take a breath and relax portion of the year. People are having to buy their kids new school clothes and school supplies and all of those things. And that's just where a lot of those resources have to go. And the whole industry kind of reacts to it. Most people would think that the summer months are the busiest times in the RC industry, but it's quite the opposite. It's the winter months, not just for people like us that have scale trucks that we're building, a scale truck here that pretty much throughout the industry is very similar. What I want to know is, does that rule of thumb ring true for you as well? Are the winter months the time where you're interacting most with the hobby stores? Not necessarily just running your car, but purchasing new parts, new trucks, new options, planning your next build and building it? Or do you kind of buck the trend and the winter is the winter? It's too cold to go outside and do anything. So in the summer is when you tend to spend the most in the hobby. Let me know down below. Or if you just want to make it simple, you can say you're a trend follower or a rule bender. What side of it do you fall on? as always, I appreciate you guys for commenting every week. My favorite part of the Scale News update. I read through all of those comments every week. But with that, as always, I appreciate you guys for watching the Scale News update. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not already. Consider joining the channel membership if you'd like to support the channel a little bit more. But with that, as always, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.